Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the Nice People Stamp Online Retreat. I've got another fun project for you here. This is a very adorable item and it's fun because you can use it for a couple of uses. So number one, cute ornament for your tree. Number two, adorable tag for a present. But number three, and what makes this so awesome, is it's actually also a gift card holder. So if you're gifting gift cards this year, you could hang them on the tree or maybe put them as a tag on a present. A fun way to gift a gift card other than just throwing it in an envelope. And then once the gift card is removed, you have a cute little ornament. So we have some fun things to come with this cute little tag / ornament. So let's get started. Our first step here is I want to do these fun clouds in the background. That's done with our embossing paste. So we've been using that beautiful embossing paste. We've used it on our first card and now we're using it again here on our tag. So let's get out our cloud mask. All right, so I have mine here now. So make sure you have this. And grab your embossing paste and make sure you have one of your palette knives. And I'm going to use the Soft Sky ink pad and I'm going to show you how you can use that to tint your embossing paste. And then let's get out the pieces we need and a bit of scrap paper because we don't want to make a mess of our table here. So my first step is I want to emboss these fun pieces. So let's take out those. Again, I'm making one tag, so I will separate mine out. But just remember that you have the pieces to create two tags. So you can create both at once or you can decide to make one and then the other. It's just up to you. So I've got my tag piece and let's not forget I have some watercolor paper here, so I just need one of those. I have some twine. We're going to separate this so we make sure we have enough for both projects. I have two more pieces of watercolor. I'll use one for this tag. And then this piece here is for our sentiment, and this is enough for both, but I'll obviously need some for the one. All right, so grab a piece of scrap paper. And I'm going to show you how you can create the clouds with your Soft Sky ink pad and your embossing paste. So that little baggie that your projects came in, save that because we're going to use that as our area to do some color mixing. So take your Soft Sky ink pad and open it up and then just put some of that ink onto that piece of plastic and try and get a pretty generous amount. So I just sort of put my ink pad up and down on that piece of plastic. And then I have my embossing paste. And you're going to want to make sure that, again, that you keep the lid on this when you're not using it. So of course I've got mine closed up tight. And let's take a little bit out. So we have some for our clouds here. So just take a bit out. You don't need a ton for this. And then I kind of use it to mop up that Soft Sky ink. And as I do that, I'm actually coloring my embossing paste. So it's, you know, you can really color it with re-inkers, or if you don't have re-inkers, you can use your ink pad to create colored embossing paste. So there you have it. We now have beautiful Soft Sky embossing paste. Make sure you put your lid back on. Okay, so I want to put the clouds onto my tag piece here. This is from the Lots of Labels framelits. And I'm just going to put my mask in position on top of my label. And we actually don't need clouds all the way to the bottom, so I'm only going to go to about this cloud here. So do you see that there? Because I don't have clouds on the bottom of my tag, and they just sort of go underneath these houses. So just make sure that you don't go too far down. So you can add your embossing paste on flat like this. Remember when we did it with the bricks on the card, we just made it flat and sort of pushed it through those bricks. So I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you another fun way you can do this. All right, so we have our quite basic flat clouds, but now if you want to add some dimension to your clouds, you can actually go in and floof up. Floof, I don't know if that's a word. Is that a word? We're making it a word. We can floof up our embossing paste to create more dimensional clouds. And I just do this by sort of sticking my palette knife down and then pulling it back up. And if you want to add a little bit more, you can. So you get these dimensional looking clouds. So either way you choose to do it, it's pretty cool. And then when I pull it off, you can see that I have these fun dimensional clouds. Isn't that neat? So let's look at my original sample. So my original sample is more the flat clouds, and then that one I just made in the video is more the floofy kind. So you can choose what you'd like to do. Just set this aside to dry as we work on some other things, and we can discard the scrap paper and the plastic, and let's go to our sink and rinse our mask and our palette knife. So let's take some time to do that and clean up. All right, so hopefully that's given you also enough time to just clean up your mask and your palette knife. My next step here is I want to do some die cutting, and I have my 2 pieces of watercolor paper, and that's what we're going to use for our die cutting. So I need to die cut my hill with my houses on it, and also these extra houses that I've used as embellishments. So let's just grab our Big Shot and get started. So remember these beautiful dies. Let's make sure we have our embossing piece out of, or our embossed piece out of the way. So remember with these dies, they're very intricate. So it shouldn't be a surprise that you may have to go back and forth a couple times just to make them cut right through. You really want to make sure that they cut right through. So I'm using the large houses, the trio with the 1 tree, and I'm just going to place that pretty near the top of my watercolor paper. I'm actually really just sort of right on that edge there because I want to make sure that I have a spot that will hold my gift card. I don't want it to sort of flop out the front. So we'll put that and run it through our Big Shot. Let me just get my plates lined up here. There we go. So again, don't hesitate to run it back and forth just a couple of times. We want to make sure that it cuts through and we don't have to do, you know, any additional cutting. This is, you know, easy if we just put it through a couple times and do it right the first time. So you should see that it's, yeah, mine's cut through really well. So if you have the die brush, you can use that to release your die from your paper. If you don't, remember, you can use a paper piercer or you can use the end of your paper snips, just whatever works best for you for the tools you have on hand. So you may need to go back with the end of your snips or a paper piercer just to get those last pieces out of the die. So you can see I just have a few little window pieces here that need to get popped out, a little doorknob piece. So again, if you don't have the paper piercer, you can use your scissors. Don't worry about that. So we'll just pop all those out. So that's ready. And then next up, I want to die cut that second little strip of watercolor paper. So that I'm going to actually die cut some extra trees for embellishing. So in the smaller houses, we have this duo of trees side by side. So I'm going to cut that. And then on the one that has the church, there's also 2 trees. So I'm going to cut one of those trees as well. And these don't have to be lined up. Make sure your dies do not overlap. We are actually cutting these trees off of the stems, so you don't need to worry about them being straight on here. You can see mine are kind of off because I don't want my 2 dies to touch, okay? So let's, oh, and you don't want it to hang over the edge. So let's scooch this over because I don't want my die to get cut when it goes through that side of the Big Shot. All right, so I think that's a little better. So we'll put our top plate on and roll that through. Again, you know what? Just a couple times for good measure. And then we'll take that out. So we can move our big shot out of the way. And I just want the trees from this die. So I can see that they're sort of in there. So I'll just take them out. And we're going to watercolor these and cut them. So it's, you know, it has that funny little triangle piece from me cutting it, but I'm going to cut that off. And same with this one here. This one actually, it cut quite a straight little stem, which is kind of perfect, or tree trunk. So that's kind of perfect, but if you're needing to, you can just go in and give your stems a trim, because we are going to use them independently, okay? So that's what the two pieces should look like before we watercolor. So let's grab another piece of scrap paper. And if you have a piece of paper towel, we're going to watercolor our trees as well as our houses. So grab your aqua painter, a paper towel if you need to do any, you know, color changing. And then we're going to use our soft sky. So remember, squish your ink pad before you open it. So we're going to use soft sky and lemon lime twist and flirty flamingo. I love these colors. Kind of non-traditional for Christmas, but love, love, love. So when we made our card and we did the watercoloring, we did a wash of water before we started watercoloring. So in this case, I want my colors to be more vibrant. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pick up my color and add it straight onto my trees and my houses. And I'm not trying to dilute the color at all. I want it really bright and vibrant. So I'm just transferring the color from the ink pad onto my project. No watering it down ahead of time. Okay, so I've got my trees done, and then I'll just clean off my aqua painter. And then let's do a little dash of a smoky slate house on one side here. All right. And then our other two houses are going to be in flirty flamingo. So I've just cleaned off my aqua painter, and then I'll just go in. Don't worry about if you're, when you go to put the line across, if it's even or not, the line of color where it meets the snowbank. Think about when you, and this is only if you live in a snowy climate, but I can tell you, when you shovel your walk or your driveway, you have all these areas where you have to sort of pile up snow all winter long. And so they get really uneven. And so the front of your house is never like a straight line. So if you'll have snow piled up in some areas depending on how your property is. So if you have like a crooked little line, that's totally fine. That's actually what it would look like in a snowy climate if you're not from a snowy climate. So we can put our ink pads away, and we are going to move our snowbank and trees off to the side and let them dry a bit. I still want to use my scrap paper, so maybe I'll just sort of turn it, because I'm going to want to create my sentiment. So remember this piece of the Whisper White cardstock? I'm going to take my basic black ink pad and my Merry and Bright stamp. If you're making both of your gift card holder tags at once, then you will stamp twice this sentiment, but I'm just making one. So I'm just going to stamp it the once. Okay, so we are at the assembly portion, but I just want to give things a little bit more time to dry. You have the luxury of being at home, and you can pause the video and you can let your watercolor pieces dry and make sure your embossing paste is dry. But I'm just going to take a moment here to cut my twine into 2 equal pieces, because you have enough here for both of your projects. So we don't want to mess up and use too much on one. So I like to just cut it in half right away to make sure that I have enough for both. You have a ton here. You'll have way more than enough. You know me, I like to make sure you have exactly what you need for your projects and that you would never, you know, run short. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to start assembling. At home, I suggest you pause your video, make sure your watercolor pieces are dry and your embossing paste is dry, but I'm going to forge ahead and hopefully I don't have any issues putting anything together here. Okay, so I have all my pieces. Let's bring back our cute clouds. And it's very important the way in which you apply the adhesive foam strips on this project. So again, I'm using those adhesive foam strips. I love these. They are so perfect for a project like this because I want to make sure that my houses are put on in such a way that a gift card can still fit inside, okay? So make sure you have those out and ready. And let's first tie a bow around our little houses. So I like to do a double bow, so I am just going to layer my twine twice and put it around my houses. Ooh. There we go. And my bow is off to this side here, so I'll just put that over here. I tie a double knot just so I can keep it taut. Okay, and then we can go in and tie our bow. Oh. I left my ends a little short. You may want to leave yours just a little bit longer. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my bow just because I left one end quite short. But if you have a ton of twine here, so feel free to make yours longer. Okay, so I have kind of a baby bow compared to my sample, but that's all right. So I can just release this side here because that's tied up, and then we'll just give it a snip. So it's a baby size bow compared to my original bow, but that's all right. And then we have some left to do our loop on the top, so you can just double it over again. And then I'll just put it through the hole in the top of the tag. And we'll tie a knot. All right. All of these things are so much, I feel like I have butterfingers sometimes when I do my videos. So hopefully you will forgive me for my little bit of butterfingers there. Okay, so there we have our fun tag coming together. Our bow is on our houses. Oh, I have a little bit of lemon lime twist on my table. That's okay. So this is the part where we're going to use those adhesive foam strips. And it's important where we put them. So turn your houses over. And I want you to put your foam strips down one side, just underneath where the houses start. Down the other side. And then all across the bottom. So the bottom piece will make it so the gift card doesn't fall out. And then the side pieces are going to add the dimension to your project. But of course, we don't want to add dimensionals through the middle here, or our gift card will, it won't fit. So just make sure that you only have dimensionals or the foam strips through the side and the bottom, okay? So then we'll take the adhesive backing off and place this onto our tag. Whoa. Butterfingers is at it again. All right. So we'll place that on like that. So I've just lined it up with the bottom of the ornament piece on the label. You can see that there. So it's just lined up like that. And then we have our Merry and Bright sentiment. And in true Allison fashion, of course, we are just cutting it down and making it super cute and tiny. So this is kind of my thing. So let's cut that down. So we have Bright, and of course we need Mary Ann. So let's get that cut down too. And this will also go on with the foam strips, just because, hey, why not? We have them out already. So we'll just add some to the back of Mary Ann. Just like that. So we'll put that just on the front here and have the side line up with the side of the ornament tag. And then we have our Bright to go down the bottom here. And I want to leave room for a tree on the side there. So just make sure you leave yourself a little room. So I'm going to put Bright kind of like, I'm going to leave myself about 1/4 of an inch so I can tuck that tree in. So there's our cute tree. And I'll just use another little piece of the foam strip to add that on. So we'll just put that right along the side there as a little embellishment. And then we have these fun double trees, which are just going to go up here because they are, of course, nestled in the hills by the houses. Wouldn't this be such a beautiful neighborhood to live in? Oh, nestled in the trees with the snowbanks. Sounds lovely. All right, so we'll just put that one on kind of like that. So there you have it. That is our second project, this super adorable Merry and Bright gift card holder, which can double as an ornament or a tag. Remember, you can do your different clouds. You can do your floofy clouds or your flat clouds. It's up to you. It's a really cute way to give a gift card because, of course, our gift card fits in the top. I've seen some fun gift card choices already this year for the holidays, so you could maybe get one to coordinate, so that would be fun. So thank you so much for joining me for this part of the Nice People Stamp Online Retreat. I will be back shortly with another project for you. I can't wait to see you again and stamp with you. Bye!